What the weirdest thing you did while you were high? Some girls in high school invited me to go smoke and swim in a creek with them. Of course I went and got high as FCK. Spent the next 30 minutes sitting in the creek. I was so still that a fish came up and bit my ass. I didn't realize what I was doing until one of the girls asked me why the FCK I was all alone sitting in the middle of a creek not moving. I was FK'd up looking for my hotel in Atlantic City. Somehow got there and woke up the next morning to just a subtle being in the search bar of my Spotify. One time my eye was really dry, so I stopped drinking my water and started slowly pouring water into my eye. All of it while I was sitting on my friend's bed. Made a cup of tea with cold water and proceeded to put the entire concoction into the microwave. When I discovered that the door wouldn't close because the mug was too big, I tipped a bit of water from the mug and tried again. How big was this F-king mug? Got up to leave my bedroom and knocked on the door before opening it to go out. Every time I get stoned, I just want to confine myself to the smallest space possible. It's not a fear or anxiety thing. Stoned me genuinely feels more comfortable under a table or bed. Or even inside a cardboard box. This one time. Are you a cat? Went to let the dog out and I walked out instead and left my dog inside. I started to get random sensations all over my body. The inside of my left thigh was getting really warm and I had to keep checking every few minutes to see I hadn't pissed myself. Me to my friend one time when I was high. Dude, I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Okay, what am I thinking? If someone rubs their face really hard, it looks like they're rubbing their skin off their face to make it into a mask. That was not what he was thinking. To this day I have no idea what came over me. One time years ago I was camping at a campground with my wife and a few friends. We're all sitting around the fire drinking. Her brother and I go for a walk to smoke some joints. We finish that and I have to piss, so he goes back to the group. And when I'm done I head back as well. So I get back and I'm pretty baked at this point and I'm just standing there watching the fire and drinking my beer for a few minutes. I then noticed a particular Coleman lantern on the picnic table and thought to myself, I don't remember us having one of those here. It was at that point that I realized I was standing at the wrong damn campsite. Amongst a bunch of people I have never met. While my group was watching from the next site over. Laughing and wondering WTF I was doing. The strangers have a much scarier version of this same exact story. Was watching a Korean drama when I had a whole freak out when I realized, holy shit, I suddenly understand Korean. I woke my BF up and made him watch with me as I translated for him. He laughed at me for 5 minutes before he told me I was actually just reading the subtitles. Years ago, before the internet, was having a panic attack while high. Wanted to connect with the Ask a Nurse hotline, but couldn't remember the number. Eating yogurt with a fork in front of my parents. My dad waited for about 10 minutes to say that a spoon might make it easier. I just imagine a slightly disappointed look on your father's face as he leans against the counter watching you attempt this and wondering if he should say anything. Went to White Castle to get food for everyone after we smoked. We all had the same order. 2 double cheese sliders and an order or mozzarella sticks. When I gave her my order I didn't just say that I wanted 8 double cheese sliders in total. I repeated the 2 double cheese sliders and mozzarella sticks 4 times. By the time I got to the end of my order the cashier sounded so defeated. I still cringe thinking back to that moment. But it's also one of my funniest smoke stories. Bought fresh fish at the wholesale fish market. When you've been partying all night. Until dawn. And you see sober people in action. The fish market is really fascinating. When you wake up the next morning afternoon and thirst lets you open the fridge. And you see a load of silvery eels. You cannot really relate to that fascination anymore. A few years ago I was on shrooms with some friends and we went on a walk to smoke a cig. Every time I took a puff of my cigarette, I was expecting to taste Mountain Dew and I was disappointed every time that it didn't. I quit smoking cigs a few days after that. Just commented this on another Ask Reddit post, but one time I was leaving California and was really high going through airport security. And when I was taking off my belt I proceeded to unbutton my pants and almost pulled them down until I caught myself. One time I came back inside from a back porch smoke and put my lighter in the sink. My reasoning was I'll put it in the dishwasher later. Was hotboxing and used my windshield wipers to try and clear the smoke. It's not that weird. But I get really weird sensations when I'm high. Other people probably get it too, but I just don't know how to describe it. But one time I was just rubbing my leg a little because I was cold. And my friend was sitting next to me. So then I was like, well, I can feel my hand and I can feel my leg. I wonder if I can feel hers. So I rubbed her leg and was like, wow. I can't feel it, and I didn't really understand why. I had a very long conversation by a fire with some guy who was high on something. While I was high on something else. We were in that zone where he really needed someone to listen to him in order to hold it together. To this day I can't tell if he was talking absolute gibberish or I was just hearing gibberish. But I smiled and nodded for a very long time. Edit. Thanks for the nice comments. The dumbest thing I've done while I was high was think my bowl of cereal was my phone and just tossed the whole bowl, milk, cereal, spoon, onto my bed. That was a f***ing mess. Used my phone torch to find my phone in the dark. The first time I got high, the first thing my friend asked me was, "How are you feeling?" And I just sat there for about 45 seconds thinking to myself, I'm just so relaxed, everything is so still, before I said to them, "Why oh. I thought that if I became rich, I'd keep all my money in pennies to prevent people from stealing it. Also once tried roasting a hot dog with no stick. Just holding the wiener in my hand over an open flame. It did not work. Got high. Ate a bunch of jalapeno peppers. Not that weird. No. The weird part was the calendar appointment I made for myself the next morning that just said ha 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 ha. Jaime apparently predicted the right time for my morning bowel movement. And as those little jalapeno poppers burned again on the way out, he reached out across time and space to laugh at sober me about it. Blew on my cereal to cool it down. The very first time I got high, my lovely friend told me you'll know when you've had enough, so of course I smoked a ton. When I wasn't moving, it felt like time had stopped. I had no idea what was going on. If I moved though, I was completely fine. I ended up dancing to no music by myself as long as I could before I went to sleep. I think I went to sleep anyway. Time wasn't working. I may have just laid there for 8 hours. When I wasn't moving, it felt like time had stopped. I had no idea what was going on. If I moved though, I was completely fine. Super hot. Super hot. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Kind stranger. Spent 45 minutes looking for my glasses with my friend. Said FCK at BC I had to leave and was now running late. When I went to put on my sunglasses I smashed them onto my glasses. I had my glasses on my f***ing face the whole time and neither myself or my friend noticed. That's on him. 100%. Freaked out that I'd lost my iPod somewhere on the way to the train station. I got off the train and went back, retracing my steps all the way back to my apartment, only to realize that I was listening to music the whole time on my iPod. Ordered food for delivery. Forgot. Went to grocery store for stuff to BBQ. Remembered about the food for delivery while paying in line. Back in college, I got super baked with friends. Like almost non-verbal. Tunnel vision stoned. We went to this donut place near campus, Ken's Donuts if anyone is familiar with the UT Austin area. I was staring at the counter full of donuts. I felt like I was standing there for like a minute quietly humming and thinking. Apparently, It was closer to 10 minutes and I was loudly humming the theme song to Jurassic Park over and over again. For some reason we were listening to it on the drive over and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I laughed my ass off multiple times while eating the donuts after the whole standing humming like a moron thing I was doing. I was thinking about how great my friends are and how pretty they are and decided I should talk to myself like that too. So I tried on all these clothes I feel self-conscious and then gave myself a bunch of compliments. Completely freaked out because everyone around me was speaking a foreign language and I couldn't understand anything. Note to self, don't get high in a foreign country. I ate mushrooms by myself and some guy dropped off pizza at my house so I signed for it. Only thing is, I didn't order any pizzas. My boyfriend came home and said, "You ordered pizza?" It had been sitting on the table for hours. I thought I dreamt it. Whoops. The guy came to the very wrong house. But I did tip him handsomely so I did the right thing. Spent 5 minutes, thought it was 30, hysterically crying and then I kept forgetting my friend had a cat and I got scared every time I saw it and said, "Holy shit, you have a cat." In no particular order. Woke up to the remote control for the TV inside of the fridge from the night before. Let YouTube autoplay for so long that I was eventually watching fire truck drag racing. And everyone's favorite. Watched hours upon hours of the you.I log TV show with my friends. So much that we knew when the hand was going to come into the scene to move the logs around. Everyone leaves this thread to search for fire truck drag racing. Set my voicemail message to "I'm so high right now." That's how my entire family learned I smoked weed. I was trying to set my voicemail box up, but gave up. The first time I smoked keef was my 21st birthday after already drinking way too much. The fade was so intense that I couldn't walk. My friends put me in my bed but for some reason I felt the need to not be in my room. So with my non-functioning legs, I crawled on my elbows down the hall and down a staircase to an empty bedroom where I laid on the floor in the dark for 30 minutes. Then I got uncomfortable laying on the ground so I miraculously regained control of my legs and managed to remove the door to the bedroom to lay on. Buddy of mine started petting the TV remote like a cat. Cried after watching the selfie music video from Chainsmokers. I once walked in on my mother crying over a cat food commercial. I was on acid at a music festival and asked a cop if he would name a hurricane after me. This one time I was coming up morning of day 2 Coachella and had just gotten to the bank of lockers where our group's stuff was stored. I was reaching for the locker but just couldn't get to it and the key wouldn't go in. My friend walks up to me, grabs the key out of my hand and I swear in one step traverses the distance of a football field and unlocks the door. Turns out the hit had just hit me like a freight train and I was on my hands and knees in the grass about 6 feet from the locker with my arm outstretched trying to insert a key. Depth perception, man. That was a great day. Standing by the sink, weeping as I tore into the most juicy and delicious whole ripe mango. In my mind I thought it was some sort of alien creature and it was giving its life in exchange for my pleasure. I thought it was the most beautiful, selfless act anything had ever done for me and was overcome by emotion. I must have looked like a goddamn weirdo but it was still a beautiful moment. I remember a roommate coming into the kitchen and asking what was wrong because I was crying and whispering thank you. Thank you to the fruit. I had a really sudden random, weird taste in my mouth. I yelled, quite loudly, and everyone around whipped their heads to look at me. I could tell by the look on their face, WTF is wrong with you? I was very embarrassed to say the least. Walked up to the bathroom mirror with a flashlight. Shined it on my eyes and studied the color patterns of my eyes for about 20 minutes straight. And singing loudly at the same time. I set a hot pocket in the microwave and put in my PIN number for the cook time. I bought a cowgirl outfit on Amazon and learned to play 9-5 by Dolly Parton. I'm a guy, by the way. I remember thinking that I was going to be some crazy successful cover artist with that gimmick. The cowgirl outfit doesn't fit BTW. Not even close. I think a lot of us would like you to follow your dream. Had a bunch of can of butter with my roommate. And after 3 hours, it hadn't kicked in. So we walked to the discount grocery store. Of course. That's when it hit us hard. We ended up finding this massive bag of cheese puffs. I've never before or since seen a bag this big. And on the way back home we opened it up and started munching. Well, we passed a 24-hour fitness. The kind with wall-to-wall windows. And we couldn't fathom why anyone would want to work out over eating cheese puffs. We pressed ourselves in front of the windows, eating and mocking those inside until a worker came out and told us to leave. Ate a whole bowl of cereal with a fork. Took me like 2 minutes to figure out why TF it was taking so long and why I wasn't getting any milk. I stared at ants outside for a solid hour and a half, just going about their business. I'm not too fond of insects sober, but when I'm high they're so goddamn interesting. Cleared out the living room of all furniture and referred to it as the dojo. I used to go round a friend's every week to watch a particular TV show and get stoned. On about the 4th week my friend started going crazy like he'd had this sudden major epiphany. They've got the same names as us. It had been 4 episodes and neither of us had noticed the 2 main characters had the same names as us. That was proper weird. Edit. So many people trying to guess my name. Did 2 CB at a festival. I hadn't eaten for 24 hours so bought a beef burger from a food stand. Soon as I got it I looked up at the sign to see a picture of a happy cow standing in a field. I handed the burger back and walked away without saying a word. I did 2 CB and went on a quest for hot dogs. Wound up at the grocery store about 2 miles away from home and didn't want to bring attention to myself by taking a shopping cart home. So I walked back with my pockets crammed full of hot dogs. They tasted so amazing that I took a photo, printed it, and put it in my kitchen. Got a shower going for myself in the hall bathroom and then went and got a shower going for myself in the master bathroom only to come to with my significant other asking why there are piles of towels all throughout the house while I was laying in bed. I was done for. I ate an entire loaf of Wonder Bread while taking a bath. I like to sing when I get high. One time, I had convinced myself that my range was stuck because of my mindset. So I started singing do over and over again in really low and high ranges. From my boyfriend's perspective, I was lying in bed, staring intensely at the ceiling, and shrieking. I was trying to get food delivered to me but I just googled the word deliver for 40 minutes. Edit. Wow, I get to say the best words ever. Thank you for the silver and gold kind strangers. This made my night. Watched myself dance in the mirror for maybe 20 minutes. I did that not high. Ate a bowl of cereal with heavy cream because I thought it was milk. Putting honey in your pubes is the kind of thing that gives a nicknames. I ate an entire block of cheddar cheese, methodically slicing it and applying different condiments to every slice until it was all gone. Sriracha, honey, peanut butter, ketchup, BBQ sauce, every kind of mustard, ranch, Caesar, Vegemite, Frank Red Hot, curry paste, wasabi, soy sauce, teriyaki sauce, strawberry and raspberry jam, grape jelly, Miracle Whip and mayonnaise. That is literally everything. To this day my favorite snack is honey and sriracha on cheddar. Deadest bit straight into a mango. IDK, I feel like I knew something was off about it. But when I had a mouthful of mango skin, I was certain. I hope you appreciated the mango's sacrifice. I decided to BBQ a tri-tip I had been marinating for a couple days and set up my camper grill in the pickup bed of my truck while it was raining outside. Halfway through the grilling process I thought to myself, maybe this isn't the best idea. So I decided to finish the cook indoors but my dumbass removed the mini propane tank before the flame was completely out. That was a terrible mistake. I could have easily burned my face off had I not immediately jumped out of the pickup bed like an action movie stunt double. I ended up belly flopping onto the wet grass, and to make things even better I f-king landed in dog tea.